Okay, the history of the future chart, part 3. I'm up to 2017. Yay. Interesting chart here. Here's your weekly single chart. And the weekly album chart. I know the Team Samurai's Bike Box tried to take over, but yeah, it was album of the year, but it wasn't quite a runaway as you all saw Laser Fast Pizza Pros did back 3 years prior. Um, it was an interesting chart year at that because at this point in time, uh, I was working out the details bringing back the original Space Events team, the original Bad Guys, and the original Bad Guys wanted to get their group back. And here, this group, calling themselves Ultra Bandits 2 on the chart. They did not like that, the one they spit. Huh. That'll be explained more or less when I do cover the history of Ultimate Bandits and Ultimate Bandits 2 on their way to becoming the group known as the Empire of Fright. That is a strange idea. Let's just say that. And among other things going on, April introduced Team Samurai to the future chart, and I worked them in. And also, she brought back a group from her childhood days, the Bugaloos. She actually managed to find their show on some channel and do more or less to them what she did with Hologram Smith's Fits and Stingers and cut an album with the original Bugaloo songs. She did eventually find the Bugaloo's CD somewhere, so that's among her collection. I have no plans on doing a Bugaloo's concert, but maybe I will, maybe I won't. Hard to say. Anyway, let's take a look at the 2017 chart year. See how interesting it was. It was a year I started shortcutting my weekly album chart, having it take up as little space as possible. Instead of a full 10 line for the 10 songs, I was doing 5 lines subdivided. Let's see. I was doing the same thing on the album chart. If 4 albums were out there, I'd just make room for 4 albums. Only 2 lines. I don't think the print on these is dark enough for you all to see. Let's see about the leftover list. It looks like I did start grouping them by lineups. But they were in the order from Still Climbing to wherever. It was kind of organized. Okay. I think when Anger started, I tried to do a less chance rebounding thing with the songs near the bottom of the countdown. I would flip for them one final time before taking them out. but it really didn't help matters. It was making it more confusing than anything, so I didn't keep that going very long. Uh, I think we had a lot of songs that chart year. Nope, 170. Oh well. More or less, it came down to Planeteers Will Need Another Hero from the Earthbound album being Song of the Year. Team Samurai's Spike Box was the album. And again, the number one artist went to wrap it up. They were probably getting too involved in the All-Star project. That's one thing I noticed about Wrap It Up. They were doing too much of the All-Star. Getting themselves an unfair advantage. And I was trying to correct that. Okay, the 2018 chart year. Very good printout for that. I think it might be a little too light. There were some chart years in which we did hit 200 songs. That one came close, 191. The overlay looks good still, considering how old these things are. Not surprising it looked this good. The weekly countdown still done 5 lines instead of 10. But I was still waiting until there was enough room for an entire lineup to debut before bringing it in. And that was kind of bad because when I get into the times in which there was a 16 song lineup, 40 from 16 is something like 24. That hurt. Trying to wait for that many slots to be open before bringing in a lineup. Let's see how organized these laps are. It looks like everything is scared together. Where it was dropping, still climbing, whatever. It's all in the same lineup. But I didn't reset the albums right away. I mean the lineup counts right away. It wasn't a bad chart year. And here's something. Remember a post I made sometime last year when I was playing Styx's greatest hits? If anyone out there had any requests for me from it, I think one of my friends, I don't know if it was a Pogo friend or not, requested that I do Too Much Time on My Hands. Believe it or not, Iron Goose did do that song on their debut album. Y'all didn't know I was planning on doing future music videos about a year ago, did you? Or a couple of years ago. So, believe it or not, Too Much Time on My Hands, Angus from Back in Business was Song of the Year in 2018. Darkwing's Master of the Skies had number one album. And Rufus, yes that's me, had the number one artist because I was getting credit for my own stuff and some of Wrap It Up as we were getting ready to form next. Am I telling the right chart year here? Yeah, We are talking 2018. Yeah. One thing I like to point out, though, I don't think I showed you all how the weeks of the songs fell, but there you had it. To my time, my hands carried over from the last chart year. Sometimes we did have late December hits, toughing out for the year. Now, Misfits Dangerous Curves spent 28 weeks on top. But then Darkwing's Master of the Skies outscored it. And I think because Dangerous Curves was finished having releases, it was done. It couldn't possibly make a comeback. Okay, so it did make a minor comeback in August that year. But Master of the Skies took over again, then Dangerous Curves again. But still, when it came to those foul chart weeks, Master of the Skies outscored Dangerous Curves. I mean, that was an incredible upset story. I probably had it there on the album chart for a reference point. Dangerous Curves, Dangerous Curves. Do, 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 do. It was really getting up there in weeks on top. And then Darkwing outscored it in the middle of July. Misfits were really fighting them all during that chart year. They were not going down. And then there's Dangerous Curves at 70 points, followed by Darkwing scoring 80 points in September. Into the last years. We started the finish for the year process. Well, when we started the finish for the year process, Darkwing was at 80 points. But there were still some Misfit songs out there I thought might have dropped out to cause an upset, but they didn't drop out. They have transferred into the next year. Once I noticed that, I pulled Dangerous Curves from the album chart. Because that really came down to the last weeks of the chart. I realized Misfits aren't gonna outscore Darkwing. But that was kind of exciting seeing how that would pull out. And here you have it on the album chart. Darkwing at 80 points with 6 releases. Misfits at 77 points with 7 releases. In case if you're wondering how it really compared to Legacy of Wild Sex for Pearls, W Slow songs, if you add all those weeks on top for that one, it would have been 36 weeks. Dangerous Curves had a total of 39 weeks on top of the album chart. And just one of the things L&H was also battling with their Thought Box idea. For the big box set collection, it didn't spend very long on top of the chart. That was very weird for them. They had such a good album, or they thought it was the best of their career, but they couldn't get to the top of the album chart. They barely had number ones from it. Okay, enough of that. Into 2018. Mm. By the way, the program was still being run or Tandy computer, I think. Tandy being a Radio Shack computer. It had a few good games, but not very many. Okay, huh. Here you go, the weeks of the chart for the 2019 chart year. I guess that's what I'm at. Yep. And the weekly album chart for the year. I wish I could have be on the same side of the page without flipping it over, but you know, I can't help that. It was a great chart year for me to be merged with Wrap It Up to become Next. And you notice what doesn't happen very often, that an artist end up having number one on top of the album chart. It doesn't happen very often in which an artist has number one on all three charts. I think it just happened at one time. For Next, coming up in the folder, you all will see it again. Okay. This overlay, I tried to have it be more clear when the cuff point was. I can tell Instro was releasing from their fifth album. The Link Soundcheck Volume 1. There was never a Volume 2 or 3. But the Soundcheck thing did continue, but featuring the Lynx didn't. The Atari Lynx handheld unit. I plugged the CD cassette adapter into the Lynx's headphone jack and ran to the playback deck on my tape player and just recorded music from the video games to be Instro's fifth album. That was an interesting idea. I can't wait to put that on for you all. Okay. And he had quite a few hits. Among them, the music from Blackout became Blackout Annoyance, because really, if I play that for you all, you will see why I called it Annoyance. Oh, here's a big change on the artist chart. Not a good one, but it was getting better. I don't know how well you can see, but I did bracket it off. All the Rufus Wrap It Up and next songs here. Then we have Stingers, Holograms, and we go on down with everyone's songs. But later on, I came up with the idea, why don't I go ahead and have them the songs be sorted as they drop out. If a song had 10 points, I'll put it in the middle. If a song had 8 points, I'll put it above it. If it had 14 points, I really put it down on the list. So I'll see that was their best song. But I'll point out when I come to it. I started doing that. Okay, I don't think anything ran away on the album chart. It's pretty close the whole year through. Only thing very surprising was Red Guardian and the Wild Cards finally having a Song of the Year. Yes, the very same group Loco was trying to prevent from hitting the chart back in the day. I accepted the Wild Cards onto this chart. Let the coin decide, should they have a hit or not. This time around with a song by it's not coming to me right now. But anyway, it's from the Where in the World's. Oh yeah, the group was Rockapella. The album Where in the World's Carmen Sandiego, based on the show they used to have on KET. The Wild Cards, A Day in the Life of a Junkie On, became Album of the Year. The arts went to Rufus, Wrap It Up, and Next, because the whole subgroups going into the merger was counting Rufus songs, Wrap It Up, and Next into one total, rather than trying to do a separate spot for myself and Wrap It Up. It was all grouped together. Oh, wow. That was an amazing chart here. Okay, let's go into 2020. Do we have perfect vision this chart year? Hard to say. Y'all know I had to say a bad joke like that here. Lineups. Let me take a look at this artist, see if I did sort on as he dropped out. Nope, not yet. So I won't bother pointing that out. And by the way, when it came to blocking out for the album charts, only made them as big as I needed. And when I saw that Wild Cards A Day Life of a Junkie On only had 2 releases left, I only made room for those 2 songs. You can take a look at where I did the summary of it. Nope. That still hasn't been modified to what it looks like in the later chart years. Okay. I don't know what causes strange font during the when I ran my program this time. But more or less that's how it went down. There were 189 songs that chart year. 23rd, 2020. The weekly single chart. The weekly album chart. Yeah, hold you better. Yeah, there you go. There were no Runaways on the album chart. Looks like Planeteer's not easily being cleaned. Green spent 11 weeks on top, but it was outscored in the end. Now, April did have Schreier hit the chart. I'm not exactly sure why. And she thought it would be a good idea to have another villain group out there. But by 2020, she changed it from being Shredder's name to a group called The Foot. That's DAFOOT. They have Heaven Song of the Year with Angels Say No. I think that's Alice Cooper's song. Will I be The Foot? I'm not exactly sure. I'm not playing on it anytime soon. And The Foot also had the #1 album, Crane's Lab. #1 artist turned out to be Next again. I'm not exactly sure. It must have been because of so many All-Star songs again. Plus, helping out the Terrans with What a Night. That's a year our Space Offense prequel was out. Trying to even out Terran's stuff to get them ready for Greatest Hits. And helping Iron Goose bounce their career because they were also doing quite a few soundtrack things too. Okay. Now we go into the year that 9/11 happened. In our timeline, their timeline, they already knew about, but they felt our pain. Believe me, they did. Okay. I ain't covered 2021, and I'll let 2022 to whatever be another foul. There'll be another video. Okay. $2021. Well, here we go. The weekly single chart. Well, the #1 songs of it. And #1 albums. I don't think anything ran away this chart year. Well, they spent 9 weeks on top with that, but it's nothing like some of those other chart years. No two chart years were the same. $185 songs. Overlay looks good. One thing about the Empire Front Ultimate Madness, I will tell you all, they kept going back and forth with their album names. For example, during this particular chart year, Ultimate Madness was calling their album. No, I need to start with Empire Fright. Their album was called In True Alert, Chicken Fight Like a UB Agent. Kind of a takeoff of what the Berserk arcade game would say when Evil Law appears. It would say something like in True Alert, Chicken Fight Like a Robot. So, Ultimate Madness' response was more or less, doggone EOF, you were the intruder. Because they were, with just the way the groups came out, they just kept picking on each other. And they continue doing so until a few chart years. I gotta get that back into its right folder. I'll just park it over there. You can tell I didn't really plan this video. Not very professional. This is where I started condensing the lines on the Relates chart too. Just bring all over the pages. I would just use a few lines to do my chart lineups on. And still keeping in mind who the groups are and everything. And I would try to get my groups lineups off after their 5th album. But that was causing 14 song lineups, and they weren't exactly doing super well. I mean, the main thing about it is I could bring the laps in earlier with just 14 points, but still, I couldn't tell where it was making that big of a difference. Where it was 14 or 16, it still took forever to bring in my lineups. What can I do about this? Okay, 911 came along and our groups didn't have anything planned as far as dedications go. It just sounded like to them it was business as usual because they were years ahead already. As far as songs go, Blur had another one song with Superstar Until You Come Back to Me. That was Luther Vandross thing. Wildcards had another one album again with Ultimate Carnival of Thrills. I do have that among April's Wildcard collection. Unfortunately, I have no clue on what happened to A Day in the Life of a Junkie. but luckily, I do have the source tape for Capitol. So, I do plan to have that Wildcards concert eventually. And somehow April's idea for the Dick Family Singers ended up Artist of the Year. Okay. That'll bring us up to 2022. And I'm going to take a break for lunch. So I'll be back later.